Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a new mission. We're going to change the fluid in the differential, and I'm going to try a new product. I'm going to try the Lucas oil. Overall, I hear very good stuff about Lucas and their products. So I thought this would be an interesting product to try. It's their gear oil, and they are saying that it works very well with the limited slip, which I have in my Jeep since I have the quadra drive. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. I also take my Jeep off-roading sometimes, so this one oil should be good for that application as well, since it's a heavy-duty oil, which gives really good lubrication. So I'm going to start in the back, and when you jack it up, my recommendation is to put the jack stands on the frame, and then you could lower down the rear differential lower to the ground, and that will help you getting access and not having the fuel tank in the way. So let's start by jacking it up. You want to get this as high as you can. Do this very slowly. When the jack has the weight on the car, you could lower your differential and you will see that it will come down lower and it will be accessible. So that's as low as it gets. But already now you have a lot of more space here to work on when you're taking the cover off. For this you need a catch can, but you don't really need it to start with, because you need to start breaking the bolts loose, which is a 30 millimeter, and nothing gonna come out just by breaking this off. Once when you have breaking all the bolts loose, remove as many as you can by hand. There is a tab that tells you what gearing you have. Save this and put it back when you are assembled it once more. I left the top bolt threaded in because that's gonna avoid this cover from falling down once I break it loose. It's time to put your catch can here, and there's a couple of ways to get the cover up, and which one works best might be different from time to time, but I like the method where I get something in between the gasket and the cover, and then it just come off like this. If you think I'm doing this more complicated than needed, I am, because the trick is to use a big chisel and just bend it open. But you know, when you need a tool, you don't find it. Now it came off. And let the oil drain out. This is why we left the top screw on, because now it just hangs here and it doesn't fall down. Once this is empty, you remove the top screw and hold in the cover. And now it comes off. This is when you bring your brake cleaner and spray it clean. A trick here is to put the transfer case and the gear in neutral, and then you can spin all this around by spinning the wheels, which gives you a better access to clean it. Start by the top and work yourself down. Don't be afraid of using the brake cleaner. I already went through one bottle. When you're done spraying, start to remove the gasket, and you can start removing the pieces that are big with your hands before you go use any tools. I then use the wire brush to brush off the gasket. Make sure that it spins away from the differential. Once you get all the gasket off, you want to spray it down with the brake cleaner one more time to get all potential dust off. And start in the top this time as well. You could also use the air gun when you're done spraying to blow it up, but be careful so you don't blow in more dust in there. The next area for us to focus on is the cover of the differential, and start by removing the filling cap, like that. Secondly, you want to spray this with the brake cleaner as well. There is a way to get this magnet off. You basically just bend this holder upwards. Like this, and you will be able to Okay, I got it off. So, if you think that I'm using weird tools to do this stuff, you're probably right. I'm having some issues to find some of my pliers and some tools that would be more suitable to get this off. But, well, they come off, so it works. Now I'm gonna spray this and I'm gonna clean this off. The next step is to get the gasket off. I'm going to use the wire brush when I'm cleaning the edge of the cover. It's time to give it another spray. Doing this, I suggest that you buy a lot of brake cleaner. I bought a 6-pack and this is the 4th I'm starting on. Let's see if the air pressure can help me out a little bit. The air pressure blew up some more oil, so let's clean that off. Now it's time to put the magnet back on. Now I'm gonna blow all the liquid off. I got a new microfiber cloth that I'm gonna use to clean the edges. I'm gonna avoid putting my fingers on this edge as much as possible. If your labels are like this, it's a good opportunity to clean them and make them readable. And for that, I'm using the wire brush. Now they are readable. And a pro tip, take a picture of them and save that picture elsewhere. And you will always know the information on this whenever you need it. This is a good opportunity to put some sort of paint over it. Next step is to apply the gasket, and my favorite one to use is the Permatex The Right Stuff. This is also OEM specified, so I know this works really good. When you're doing this, you need to put a bead around every screw like this, all the way around. And you should try to do it in one go. It's not a big deal if it doesn't. And once you have done this, you should be pretty quick on putting it on. And when you put it on, you should not slide around too much. The trick I go for is to put the screw up in the top. Then I put one down here and one on the side, and that will hold it in location. And then I hand tighten it, and then I go in a crisscross pattern when I'm tightening it down. And I don't tighten it all the way down to start with. I let the gasket seal a little bit before I tighten it down to spec. So I'm going to start by applying it like this. When getting this one on, put the label on. So we're going to hand tighten this now. And if you have a ratchet like this, I could strongly recommend it now, because this is really good. I start here, very loose, then I go up in the opposite corner. Go down here. Go up again on the opposite corner. Then I go to this side. The opposite. So I'm working in a crisscross pattern, and there's probably instructions for how to do this properly, but as long as you go in a crisscross pattern, I think it's safe to do it in any ways. So after you've been doing this by hand, I want to let this set for around 1 hour or something like that before I tighten this down to spec. And meanwhile, I'm gonna work with the front, and when I've tightened this up, then it's time once again to refill it and start using it. When it comes to the front, everything is more or less the same. You're removing it the same way and you're cleaning it the same way. The only difference is if this one has a drain plug like this, that you need a tool, a socket to remove, then you always start by removing the drain plug. And the reason for that is if you don't get this off, you haven't drained your differential and it could still use your vehicle. The last step now is to fill up the differentials with the oil once again. Meanwhile, when the rear was drying up a little bit, I did the front differential, and I have now also torqued down the front and rear differential according to factory spec, which is around 30 feet-pounds or 40 Newton meter. It's time to finally fill up the differential. And I had some issues with this. But I think I finally found the ultimate solution, which is this. It's a really, really huge syringe. I'm gonna fill it up just with half a liter to start with. then it should go down. I'm just gonna turn it upside down and push the liquid up like this. I think I already like this thing a lot. Wow, that worked really good. This is a really good thing. I'm gonna show you this in detail on the front differential because it's easier to get access there with the camera. We are in the front. This is a Dana 30, by the way, and I put some Teflon on the drain plug, and meanwhile I just put it there because this one has the magnet located on the plug itself. So bring in the syringe, and I'm going to see if I could top this off in one go. Now I'm opening the syringe, and now I just let it flow. And you're doing this until it fills over and it pours out. There it comes. Let's get the drain plug on. And let's tighten the drain plug. There's probably a torque spec for that, but I just tighten it slightly harder than hand tight. What could I say? This was well invested money. I bought this in a Swedish store, similar to auto parts and stuff like that. But if I see something similar on Amazon, I will give you a link in the description. I managed to do this with 1 gallon in total, and I still have some left in the bottom. And that is even with me messing it up a little bit and getting some of on the floor and stuff like that. So 1 gallon should be enough if you have the Dana 44A in the back and you have the Dana 30 in the front. You should only know what hassle I had before I used this. First I tried out a method where I pour the transmission fluid on a higher point down a pipe into the axle. It's a funnel in the top and then there's a hose that goes down. That worked good for me in the past, but this one is slightly thicker, so it didn't work that very good. And then, lacking other tools at home, I tried to modify my spray gun for the air compressor. Then I come to think about this, the gun that I used for the undercoating. And that didn't work out very well either. Then I just gave up for that evening and I got this one instead. And that worked good, as you saw. Changing the fluid in the differentials is quite easy and straightforward. There's not much you could screw up with. Keep in mind that if you have a limited slip, it might require some friction modifier. It says on it that it doesn't require it, but I heard people getting problem without it. So I'll see if I get some problems or it works out without any friction modifier. Otherwise, I will just add it into the mix as well. And if you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel by clicking here. And if you want more Jeep related content, you should check out this playlist here with more Jeep and off-road how-to videos. Thanks for watching and I see you soon.